The most powerful thing we can do with what we choose is to regularly re-choose it. Sanbonani, dumelang, hello, namishaweta winkwenu. Welcome to the Unbecoming the Ordinary podcast. I am your host, Eunice Temba, and I am coming live to you from my happy space. If you are a new listener, I'd like to take this moment and welcome you. You are on a journey where we are rewriting everything that people, society, and experiences have told us to be, simply because we now understand that we cannot just be sticking to everything that people say. How about we redefine all of those rules in order to find ourselves? Namishaweta hinkwenu, and welcome to the Financial Literacy series. It just came to me that since I disappeared, with my reasons being said last week while doing the wellness series, why not continue with it but looking at the financial part of it? Because I am pretty sure that we are all juggling through life, and the biggest factor of our life is made of finances. And if we are struggling holistically, it is mostly likely that we are also struggling financially. So it just came to me that since you have read some books that are guiding you in your financial path, why not share those books on the show with other people who might be longing to read those books but do not necessarily have the means to go buy them all the time, to even sit down and read those books? Because guys, I tell you, I have sought the path to riches the hard way before I learned that there is a short and dependable path that I could have followed had I been guided as I hope to guide all of you. The name of the book that I will be talking about is The Master Key to Riches by Napoleon Hill, and I just cannot emphasize how great this book is. I remember when I bought it, I walked into CNA and then I walked out without finding anything that I liked. And then something in me after I've done my shopping was like, go back to CNA. And I went there, went straight to the shelf, picked up this book, read the back cover, and I was like, this is it. I'm definitely buying this. Guys, believe me when I say it took me literally 3 days to read this awesome book and finish it. And I cannot wait to share it with you because I know that it is going to impact your lives as much as it has impacted my life. What I like about it is that it is a book that does not only focus on monetary success, but it's an all-round book. It's all about succeeding in all areas of your life, and I do hope that you receive it the same way that I received it. And I hope that you have a pen with you because I'm about to drop some bombs that are definitely gonna change the way you look at life and everything around you that involves finances. Without any further ado, let us meet on the other side of the show. Some believe that riches consist in money alone, but enduring riches in the broader sense consists in many other values than those of material things. And may I add that without these other intangible values, the possession of money will not bring the happiness which some believe it will provide. When I speak of riches, my fellow listeners, I am mainly quoting the author of this book, who is Napoleon Hill. And I wouldn't like to waste any time, so I will go straight to identifying and explaining the 12 riches that he speaks about in the Master Key of Riches. The first one being a positive mental attitude. And I cannot even emphasize this one because it just took me back to my first episode when I started this whole podcasting, when I spoke about the power of the brain. Having a positive mental attitude is the key to achieving anything that you want, because the brain is the one thing that we have complete control over. It is the one space that we have, that we are able to dream and allow ourselves to wander in time in hope that we will achieve all that we are aiming for. So that is the first riches that he speaks of. Rich number 2, he moves on to speak about sound physical health. Guys, I cannot even emphasize this because it makes no sense for you to be really, really wealthy but not be healthy enough to enjoy the wealth that you have accumulated in the first place. And he goes on to emphasize that health begins with health consciousness, which is produced by the mind. Your mind, when you are in a positive mental space, your mind thinks in terms of health. You think in terms of habits that are in alignment with eating healthy and having properly balanced activities throughout the course of the day, because at the end of the day you want to be able to still come back and enjoy all the wealth that you have. And then he moves on to speak of harmony in human relationships. Guys, this, I'm just going to be very honest, I did not know that having harmony in human relationships can be considered as a wealth or in a form of wealth, because he says that harmony with others actually begins with oneself. And he goes on to quote Shakespeare that benefits available to those who comply with his admonition, to thine own self be true, and it must be in follow. And it just really knocked to me, when God says love thy neighbor like you love yourself. This one just came and was like, okay, Eunice, it now makes sense. You don't even have to question it. And then fourthly, he moves on to talking about freedom from fears. This one also goes back to number one. When you're having a positive mental attitude, there is no way that you will allow fear to overtake your life. You need to be a free man in everything that you do. When God says, believe and it shall be given to you, you cannot be able to dream if you are in a space of fear. So fourthly, Mr. Hill speaks about freedom from fear. He says that you should be free from the fear of poverty, from the fear of being criticized, from the fear of being ill, from the fear of losing the ones that you love. Like, that is the fear that you should be able to free yourself from. I love this personally, just so you know. And then let me just call these pillars of wealth, if that makes any sense. Pillar number 5, he speaks about the hope of achieving. Pillar number 5, he speaks of the hope of achievement. Being able to dream and hope that everything that you are hoping for will actually be attained. And he says that the greatest of all forms of happiness comes as a result of hope, of achieving some of the things that are still unattained. Being able to know that everything that you've hoped for will actually come true. Because if you do not have this hope of achievement, you cannot look to the future and become the person that you want to be, because there is no hope in you. So yeah, guys, I'm still dropping those bombs. I hope you're writing them down. Moving on to, pillar number 6. He speaks of the capacity of faith. Guys, do you see the link within all of these pillars? There is so much link, and as you sit down and think about it, you're like, yeah. So the capacity of faith, he says that faith is a connecting link between the conscious mind of man and the universe as a whole. So when I say universe, it's really up to you how you look at the universe. Some can say faith is the link between the conscious mind and God. Some, depending on our different beliefs. But faith is one of the external exterior which gives creative power and action. Like the book of Romans says, faith is the basis of all so-called miracles and many of the mysteries which cannot even be explained by the rules of logic, or science, if any of that makes sense. But what I like the most, and this is in like my own explanation, faith is a spiritual chemical which cannot even be explained, and when it gets mixed with prayer, it gives you direction and immediate connection with your internal power. So guys, I hope you're writing down. Moving on to the next pillar. This is pillar number 7. He speaks of the willingness to share one's blessings. Guys, I had to learn this from a very young age, and I'm grateful and beyond grateful that I had to learn this even when I was at my lowest, because you know they say that blessed is the hand that gives than the one that receives. This is just beyond words, and I hope that it is self-explanatory, because I can go on and on and on and on, and I don't want to do that. But like riches which are not shared, whether they are material riches or intangible riches, they die. So, and this is the one lesson that I've just recently learned, that when you give, you are actually securing that for yourself. So when you give food to others, you're actually making sure that you also have food. It's something that is just beyond us, if I should just say. Moving on to pillar number 8, or reach number 8. It's a labor of love. Guys, I just love the connection with all of these riches, because there can be no richer man than he who has found a labor of love. When you are able to give acts of services to others with love, it is just beyond. That is human progress. It is a medium of love which is sanctified, because it also brings joy, a joy of self-expression to the person who actually does it. You get that fulfillment in you, and that alone is just wealth, intangible wealth, which nobody can take away from you. And then he moves on to talk about, this is pillar number 9, or reach number 9, an open mind on all subjects. You know, when you have tolerance with you, it is said to be one of the higher attributes of culture, which is expressed by a person who has an open mind. When you are able to listen to others when they share things with you without judging or wanting to disturb, and also be able to be listened to, you know, that is an education which a person should avail themselves to, and it is also defined as one of the riches. Because guys, I also feel like we learn by observing, but mostly we learn by interacting, and there is no way you can interact without listening and without having an open mindset. Yes, you might be in a circle whereby you feel like you are smarter than those people, but surely there is something beyond you that you can learn in that very particular moment. So yes, an open mind on all subjects is also regarded as one of the riches. And then rich number 10 is considered to be self-discipline. My, I love this one so much, because this is something me and Beloved are always talking about. Self-discipline, self-discipline, self-discipline. Being able to wake up and do your bed in the morning before you do anything other than that. That's discipline on itself. And the highest form of self-discipline consists in the expression of humility of the heart. When you are disciplined in everything that you do, then you are the captain of your soul. Does it ring a bell? Does it make sense? I hope it does. Rich number 11. I'm almost done. Rich number 11 is the capacity to understand people. Understanding people, guys, is always being able to recognize that people are fundamentally alike, and that we have all evolved from the same stem. I don't know if you want to say stem or source. I prefer source, but it's just recognizing that all human activities are inspired by one. We are all one in one way or the other. We all share the same emotions of love, of material gain, of freedom and body. This is just who we are. And once you get to a point or level in your mind where you are able to accept this, you are understanding yourself also, you know, by understanding that other people do 1, 2, 3. It's also you getting to a space whereby you are understanding yourself, and you learn to be gentle with yourself. You learn to be patient with yourself. And that is solely done by understanding other people. You do you see the link, guys? I love this book. Hey, if you're not convinced by now that you need to buy this, I don't know. But rich number 12 is economic security, and I'd like to read this as it is because I found it so powerful. He says, and I quote, "The last, though not least in importance, is the tangible portion of the 12 riches. Economic security is not attained by the possession of money alone. It is attained by the services one renders for useful service, which may be converted into all forms of human needs with or without the use of money." How powerful is that? How deep is that? And what I like also is that he goes on to tell you what is it that you can do to achieve all of these riches. And firstly, he emphasizes on gratitude. Remember on my last episode, I spoke about the importance of journaling, the importance of allowing yourself a moment to pray or count the things that you are grateful for. And I did say that if sometimes it's just beyond you, and you're not in a space to pray. So how about you go on and count 10 things that you are grateful for? And I'd like to mention this because, guys, I love you so much and I want to see all of us succeed. His gratitude is ordered in this sense. Firstly, he says, Mr. Hill specifically calls them the 8 princes. And I laughed at this when I read this because I was like, wow, how creative of him. He was like, every night as the last order of the day's activities, the prince and I have a round table session. And he refers to them as the princes, but I'm about to count them now and you'll be like, okay. And he says that they exist on a higher plane than the physical, and I contact them through the power of thought. And so, guys, if you've been listening carefully, you will realize that all of this connects and it all goes back to having a positive mental attitude. So what he was basically saying is that every night I sit down with my princes, maybe after having dinner, or I sit down on my gratitude journal and I speak with them as though they are here with me. And he goes on to count that I am grateful for material prosperity, being grateful for all that your mind has been able to think of, which you have achieved, the opulency, the plenty, and the fear from freedom. All of that is under material prosperity. So he says, I am grateful for the Prince of Material Prosperity. I am grateful for the Prince of sound physical health. I am grateful for the Prince of peace of mind. I am grateful for the Prince of hope. I am grateful for the Prince of faith. I am grateful for the Prince of love. I'm grateful for the Prince of romance. I am grateful for the Prince of overall wisdom. And this one was just my absolute favorite because, yes, for the longest time, I've been doing this whole journaling and gratitude thing, but I did not know that overall wisdom is something to look at with such a deep eye. Saying that my eternal gratitude to you for having transmuted into an enduring asset of priceless value. Being grateful for all your past failures, defeats, errors of judgment and of death, all fears, mistakes, disappointments, and adversities of every nature, the asset constitution of my willingness and ability to inspire others. This is like the highest gratitude, guys, you can do, because it's like my gratitude to you for revealing to me the truth that no human experience need become a liability, that all experience may be transmuted into useful service. How like I usually say that everything that is happening to me is happening for me so that I can be able to help others. Guys, are you not mind blown already? But I just cannot emphasize in detail how important it is to have a moment of gratitude. And this is something that I came across as I was watching one of Oprah's interview, and she went on to say that what you appreciate appreciates. So what you are thankful for actually increases. And it's something that you might not be aware of. And I'd like to share some personal experiences, some few things that have been happening this week, but for the sake of time, because that's not the end of the book, it goes on. But this is the one thing that I wanted to say with regards to the princes when you do your gratitude moment or your journaling. And this was a conversation that I had with my dearly beloved. Good morning to you. When I shared the princes with her, she said, Uni, I will refer to them as, I will say, the God of faith, the God of material prosperity, the God of romance, the God of love, the God of overall wisdom. And this is very much dependent on your beliefs. And because me and her share the same beliefs, this is something that we agreed on. I'm sorry that I had to change the book, but this is for my own good. So instead of referring to them as the Prince of 1, 2, 3, we're like the God of this, because that's who we believe in, right? Like I say, I'm not here to judge. We are all about unbecoming and unlearning, but at the same time, we should be able to learn within our own beliefs what we believe works for us. And that's just a conversation I had with her, and I thought that it would be interesting to share all of this with others, because guys, this is a community and we are all growing together. But in summary, and without wasting any time, I just wanna, because you're probably wondering that, Eunice, okay, now I know the 12 riches, and now I know that I should have a moment of gratitude. But how do I go about starting to achieve all of this wealth that I wanna accumulate in my life? So I'm just gonna share 3 steps that Napoleon Hill shares on the book. There are 17 steps, but I'm just going to share the three most important. Not because I felt that it's the 3 most important, me, not myself, but they're highlighted in the book that you can do everything, but this is what you should mainly focus on. And he goes on to say that, guys, I'm about to drop some bombs again. I hope you're ready, and I hope you have a pen with you. He goes on to say that if you have a dream or you have a desire to achieve something, you must have defiance of purpose. And that simply means that whatever that you aim to achieve, God, let's say maybe you want to get into property. That's your biggest dream. You want to blow up the property industry. Find a piece of paper. Write down a detailed plan of what you want to do, how exactly you will go about achieving what you want to achieve, and what is it that you will give in return. Because there's nothing for mahala. It's a give and take situation. And I had to learn this from church. And some of you might be hearing this from me, but in life, life is a give and take. It's not a give or it's just a take. It's a give and take. So he goes on to say that, write also what is it that you will do once you have attained or achieved whatever that is it that you want to achieve. And then put a date to it, and then put a signature. Do not tell anyone. Close it, put it away. Every single day, make sure that in your mind you remind yourself that this is what I want to do and this is how I'm going to do it. If you fear that we are not talking about fears, excuse me. If you might forget what is it that you wrote, then you are allowed to open your paper or your journal and read it out loud or read it to yourself, but you don't tell anybody. You don't discuss it with anyone. And then he goes on to say that, have in you the habit of going the extra mile. And guys, I personally like this one because you can just never go wrong. It literally teaches you that life cannot be attained without hard, smart, and right work. And so this one, it says that if you are currently working, let's say, I don't know, you are a cleaner, go the extra mile doing that job. Love it. If it means that you should this is just an example. If it means that you knock off at 2:30, and if it means that you should stay up until 5 and maybe you offer your boss coffee or something, do it. Like, go the extra mile with everything that you do. Do it like 110% or 190%, but like, because the I don't know, the world, the universe, your God will reward you. There is just magic with that aspect, and I hope I explained it better. And if I did not, the purpose of this is to get you to go and buy this book so that you can start getting in the right path. And he speaks of the mastermind. You ever heard of the saying, birds of the same feathers flock together? I guess it's true. If you want to be successful, you need a group of people that have expertise that can be leveraged toward your defined purpose. And this goes back to number 1. Remember when I said you write your plans, your dreams, goals down? The only time you are allowed to share your plans, it's when you share them with your mastermind. It's when you share them with people who have the same desires as you, people who have the capacity to assist you or help you achieve what you aim for. Because you might be thinking of building your own car from scratch, but you might not be what do they call this, an engineer. You might have not went to mechanical engineering faculties or institutions. So the only time as I, Eunice, share my plans with other people is when I know that they can aid me, they can assist me in having my dream come a reality. Does it make sense? Did you get it, guys? But yeah, that's it. I do highly recommend that you read this book and you put these principles into practice. And just to challenge you, and I would like to hear from you, just to challenge you, how about you go the extra mile and take one thing from this podcast and make it a habit? How about you maybe take the gratitude part of this whole podcast and make it a habit? That will be you going the extra mile, and see if you will not be rewarded. Guys, I love hearing from you. I am very, very, very happy to be back, and I promise never to disappear like that again. But if you do want to stay in touch with me, share a comment or share how this podcast might have changed your life, feel free to hit me up on Instagram. I go by uni_ngitandiwe, Eunice Ngitandiwe Temba on Facebook, and you can send me an email on eunicetemba96@gmail.com. Until next time, let us continue to unbecome the ordinary, and good morning.